everybody, my name is Kim and welcome back to Bookmarks and Breadsticks. If you haven't heard the news already, which hopefully you've noticed by the amount of videos I've been posting about this, the Book Buffet Readathon is next month in August. I'm here today to bring you a list of 10 different mangas that are cooking and food related. This will help you fulfill the prompt of takes place on another continent or is a translated work. So the 10 manga I'm going to recommend to you are actually all series I have read sometime in my life. They do span different genres within manga and graphic novels. So for example, Addicted to Curry is about 50 volumes deep and it is considered, I don't know if I'm going to say this word right, seinen, which is a youth approach, so very approachable for a teenage audience. Addicted to Curry is about a young woman, Yui, who has been abandoned by her father. They own a curry shop that is struggling, so her dad leaves on an adventure to hone his skills, essentially leaving his poor daughter behind. And she comes across a young chef who is indebted to her father, so he stays behind to help keep the store alive. This has tons of curry recipes at the end of each chapter and volume. The lead male is a little perverted, but nothing too extreme, and I found it a really fun and quite lovely story to read. A shoujo, which is very much like schoolgirl romance that I recommend, would be Kitchen Princess, which is all about a young woman being accepted into a very prestigious school. Her parents were both pastry chefs but had died in a car accident, so she is kind of the Cinderella story kitchen princess who catches the eye of the two most popular boys in high school that are also brothers. This is all about pastry. There's lots of recipes for baked goods in it, and it's a super cute story. Next up is a new graphic novel, so new meaning published in 2021. It's still out in the world. I say graphic novel, it's definitely a manga because you're reading it right to left, and it definitely has that panel style. But I've noticed that with the newer North American publishers for mangas, graphic novels, they're starting to blur the line between them now because you're getting a lot of light novels, mangas, omnibuses, and etc. So the new one I saw at Barnes & Noble's actually is Beauty and the Feast. So this young woman is struggling and a little bit down on her luck, and she seems to be getting her mojo back by cooking food for the high school boy next door who is a baseball player. I'm not sure if this is going to become a romance or not because he is in high school. I know that the age of consent is slightly different in Japan, but it's an older woman, in a sense older than him, woman cooking for him, but it seems to be like helping her regain her confidence. I've only read the first volume of it, so I'm not sure where the story's exactly going. Another book I saw at the store but haven't read yet is Penguin Gentleman, and apparently it is an entire restaurant where all the butlers are actually penguins in disguise. And these are like macho looking men, maybe like a reverse harem kind of feeling, but I have no idea why they're penguins. And this is a graphic novel I would try to like rent from the library or check out from the library because I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I just remember showing it to Dan being like, they're penguins. They're penguins. It would be really funny if they only served fish because penguins eat fish, but I digress. I wouldn't be doing the cooking manga genre justice without mentioning Food Wars. Now, Food Wars is not for me. I honestly detest this series. It's made for boys. And like this one chef, he wants to win the food wars, he wants to be the best chef in the world, but he creates food that's so orgasmic that women, like, their clothes fly off, and I'm not into it. But it is, when you hear of food manga genre, Food Wars is always going to be number one. It also is an anime, I believe. It's still ongoing. It's like a never-ending series, so I really think it's very popular. People love it. It's just not for me, but, take a try. You can probably also find it online as like an e-copy instead of buying the graphic novels physically. Next up is Sweetness and Lightning. This is about a high school teacher who has just lost his wife 6 months ago, and now he is with his young daughter and doesn't really know how to cook. And I actually found this as a TV show on Crunchyroll and then realized there was a manga for it. So I am going to go back and read the scans or digitally is my hope. It's a very cute story, and I only got through episode 1, where his young daughter mentions that she misses eating together, having a home-cooked meal, and he desperately seeks out a young woman at a cherry blossom festival gave him a card for her mother's restaurant, and he rushes over there, and the three together have just basic pot rice together, and it's a high school girl. Her mother is missing, so the high school daughter makes the meal, and she, at the end of the episode, asks him to eat family meals with her. She is a student at his school, so I don't think this is going to be a romance. I think this is more of his father learning to cook. He is also grieving the loss of his wife, and this high school girl probably has her own character arc to go through as well. But there's going to be lots of home cooking, especially for a young daughter, which I am already super in love with it. He seems like a very nice, like humble but good guy who just lost his wife, and I find a lot of comfort in food, not just emotionally eating, but like some of my fondest memories of my family are eating together. Next up is Silver Spoon. Silver Spoon is about a young boy who he's not sure what he wants to do with his life, so he's about a high schooler, and the only place he gets accepted into is basically a high school campus that is a farm, and he will learn all of the areas of farming, between raising chickens, pigs, learning where your food comes from, which ultimately means killing the animals, eating the animals, and etc. Silver Spoon, I started reading, I started to watch the anime, and I just fell off the bandwagon a little bit. Life got busy, but I really like it because I think it's the best example of a manga that reminds people where your food comes from. And I am really excited because a lot of the ensemble cast are different people who want to work in farming or agriculture, and the pressures of sons to take over farms versus daughters who might want to take over the farm, but tradition really doesn't look at it that way. Usually the first son inherits a business. I really liked what I read so far, and I'm excited to get back into it. Next up is a recent publication, last couple of years, Cucurio, Bed and Breakfast of the Spirits. Now, this is an omakase. The girl is spirited away from the real world to live with a demon king, and she, instead of living with him in the main house, asks to take over this dilapidated bed and breakfast and revive it herself. So she is a human cooking for demons and spirits of the spirit realm. It obviously develops into there's a little bit more of a plot later on in the chapters besides her just adjusting to being in the spirit world. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great show. The food always looked delicious, and I loved how much the demons were like, oh my god, human food! They were really, really excited to have human food, which was really funny. Another izakaya is Nobu, Restaurant from Another World. There is also another manga called Restaurant from Another World. The names are very, very similar, but I'm recommending Nobu because it is a little bit more slice of life, slower pace, less of an epic overarching plot, but it is about this restaurant that's, when it opens its doors, customers can come from different dimensions and different worlds. And there's some hilarious moments because people walk in and they don't realize what's going on, but it is all about this little restaurant, hole-in-the-wall kind of restaurant, not a Michelin star restaurant, and it just seemed really homey and cozy. So I'm trying to give you different categories. Like I've done some that are more for the younger male audience, some that are just for the young girl audience who wants the love subplot. There's some about farming, there's some sweeter ones. This one's more chapter by chapter. And another great example of this is Bartender, which is my final recommendation. I love the manga Bartender. It is just about this guy who wants to be the best bartender in the world. He has this little small hole-in-the-wall bar where he works, and he just knows how to pair the perfect drink for the customer. And it's a little like, oh my god, sometimes you just have to let go of the fact he'll always find the perfect drink for someone. But what I loved about it was he has and explains to the reader the history of all of these different drinks and aperitifs, and I thought it was so interesting. Like, I don't actually drink, it doesn't play nice with the medicines I take, but I love learning about the history of all of these different drinks in the world. Bartender has a spin-off, I think it's like Bartender France. And unfortunately, this manga never made it to an English bound printed version, or if there is one, someone please tell me, but I have not found it on Amazon, eBay, any of my normal go-to graphic novel sites. but there is an anime. So I might buy the anime just because I loved it that much. I read some kind of scan online, and obviously I want to support the author and buy the real copies, but I can't read Japanese. So if you can find the scans online, I highly recommend Bartender. You get to meet other bartenders in their community, a young woman as well, which is a little bit rare in the bartending world in Japan. But I really, really loved it. And another one I'll add really quickly is Il Restaurante Paradiso, which it's really interesting that it's a Japanese manga and a Japanese anime about an Italian restaurant, and this young girl flies to Italy because she thinks to go visit her mother. Like, she's always had this weird relationship with her mother. Her mother's getting remarried, and when she arrives, her mother has her pretend that she is not her daughter. But she ends up working in this restaurant and developing a crush on the lead chef, who is not even like the most attractive man. He's like an older man. He's like a silver fox, but like quiet and intelligent with glasses. Like George Clooney, kind of like that. There's a huge age gap, huge. And it's really just a charming video. It's a very charming series. She knows so little about food. She's slightly a little bit of a bratty character, but she goes through her own character arc and character development, but it all takes place in this restaurant, and you meet the chefs and the waiters, and you learn about this really small restaurant that's tight-knit, and even her stepfather, who doesn't know he's her stepfather, how they have a relationship develop as well. So those are my 10/11 culinary manga recommendations. Remember, this can work for takes place on another continent and the translated work reading prompts. There are tons of other food mangas out there. If you have other recommendations, feel free to link them down in the comments below. If you know where I can get Bartender the manga in English, please also tell me. I would love to have it. But I also am always looking for more food manga recommendations, so please hit me up. What is your go-to app? I think Viz Media has an app now, or at least that's what I think Happy for Now mentioned on her channel. But anyway, let me know in the comments below, are you going to be participating in Book Buffet? Are you going to be reading any graphic novels? Do you need a buddy read? Don't forget to follow all of the other co-hosts on their channels. I'll have them linked down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for me, and follow our Instagram handle, wow, I can speak, Book Buffet FF on Instagram for more up-to-date prompts and other giveaways for the readathon. I hope you're well. See you in the next one. Bye.